jumping in here.
Yeah, it's already
You
gone.
know,
Yeah,
that's
Exactly.
all.
it's already gone.
Do you know, Nancy, in the UK, today is officially the first day of summer.
Mm.
It better be because it's been raining throughout June. It's been raining for like 2 weeks here, non-stop.
Well, not well. It did stop, but every time you think it's going to stop, it starts again. At least where I live, anyway.
Gosh, man.
Oh, see, there you go.
It, it's been terrible for the last 2 weeks. Actually, the last month and a half, we've gotten so much rain.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
You know, it's
I mean,
been raining. Yeah, go on.
no. What I was saying is, I mean, I know you need rain, but
Yeah, of
damn.
course. You
yeah.
know
But
what?
the,
It's been raining so hard in the UK. Even the plants and the trees are saying, "All right, enough already."
yeah, right. Every time it's funny because every time I cut my grass, that same night or the next day it pours for like days straight, and I'm like, come on now. You know when you freshly cut something, it's going to grow faster with all
Well,
the
I cut
rain.
my grass indoors because I don't want it to get wet. But we might not be talking about the same kind of grass. You know what I'm saying?
No, not that kind of grass.
I'm
Oh
a
god,
horticulturist. Horticulturist. That's what I am. That's what I is.
there y'all go. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are live. This is episode 65 of the RGT podcast. How's everybody doing in the chat? So, yeah, got a lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about. It's gonna be a good show. Do us a huge favor, hit that like button, share it out so we can reach more gamers, and shout out to everybody who's been waiting. Figure we started a little early. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody get their intros in, and then we're just gonna start some good topics. So, ladies first.
What's up, everybody? Hope you enjoy the show. You know who this is, your girl TFP. That's it.
All right, got you. And Mr. Fox.
Yes, it's Mr. Fox, Foxy Games UK, play games on corporations. I'll probably say that at the end as well.
All right, you got it. You got it. Let me shut this thing down here. Obviously, you guys know YouTube is doing that. Well, they're officially saying bye bye to Google Hangouts later this year. So the RGT podcast will eventually be transitioning to Discord. So podcast, we're not going anywhere. Just throwing it out there. We'll still be here. But yeah, it was good while it lasted. I guess you can say,
Yeah.
man. It's good while it
They're
lasted.
trying to silence the people, but the people will not be silenced.
Cannot silence the almighty ones. What's up, Roman? Everybody else in the chat. EJ, No Sweat, what's going on? Dawn, Billy, all kinds of games. Hey, I like that. That's dope. Michael, what's up? And Joystick, what's going on? And everybody else. So let's go ahead and start with an interesting story right here. All right. So it turns out that a lot of people believe that The Last of Us Part 2 will not have a multiplayer for the game. Now, this has been going on Twitter, and a lot of people are actually believing this. Now, again, I'm gonna share you guys my screen real quick. This is actually from The Last of Us creators, or not creators, but developers. Actually, it's from the director, and the director said this. So this is what he had to say. He's actually going to clarify this for us, but this was last year. Keep that in mind. So it will have a multiplayer of some sort. That's what he had to say. And they did not turn that out at all. But what's interesting as well, though, maybe people are getting this mixed up with this because Naughty Dog is shutting down the PS3's Last of Us and Uncharted multiplayer servers. So maybe that's what the confusion is. But again, it's the internet, so never be shocked, really, I guess. Anyway, what you guys got to say about that?
The only thing I gotta say, I'll wait. I'll wait to see it to believe it because people just make up things. If they don't understand something, they just make something that suits their narrative when they want to get views or likes or people tweeting their stuff out. If they're just on Twitter, they want retweets or whatever. They want to be the center of attention. So until it happens, until I know or see,
Yes.
I'm not gonna speculate on. I don't like to speculate on anything that I don't know about.
Okay. What's up, Game Killer Blaze? What's up, Mr. Superior Artist? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. What's up, Bray? How y'all doing? But yeah, it's definitely I could definitely agree with you there. A lot of people do just say stuff just for shock value. So
Yep, that too.
yeah, a lot of people say stuff for shock value, but yeah, not surprising. Fox, what you gotta say about that?
Well, in terms of the shock value, you know, the lie is always more interesting than the truth, right?
Yes.
That's people more interested in what the fake than the real because it's more exciting. But honestly, I told you, I said before we went live, I never played The Last of Us online anyway. I played that for the story, played it 3 times, enjoyed it 3 times. I'm probably going to do the same with this Last of Us. So selfishly, I don't care if it has multiplayer or not. But
You
I
just
know
use
people like to play online. So for that demographic,
mm,
it would be nice if it does launch with a multiplayer component. But personally, selfishly, do I care? Probably not.
okay, for sure. I agree with that. Good point. Good point. So you're actually legit in it for that single player. Just
I'm into all Sony's exclusives for the single player, dude. That's why I buy this shit.
all of them single player. I got you. He's so
I, 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 I agree with Foxy on one thing. When it comes to games, I like the story end of it. I mean, if it has multiplayer and I feel like getting on and playing, if it's a good multiplayer, I may
mm,
jump on and play. But I enjoy the stories and the
The options
storylines
are good,
and
isn't it?
going through it. Yeah.
Options are good. Options are good, but for
Hmm.
that type of game, it's not make or break. Like
yeah,
Nancy
I
said,
can
if
agree.
it doesn't have a multiplayer component.
Hmm. Okay. Good point. Good point. What's up, Nathaniel? What's up, Mr. Bates? Spartan. I sent you the invite on Twitter just now. If you want in here, jump in here. Come on, jump in here. But let's continue. What's up, Mr. Player Unite? How you doing? So yeah, there was that. So moving on from that story. Mr. Hirai finally is leaving Sony officially. Even though he announced that he was stepping down a few months prior, he's now officially retired from Sony. And yeah, it's over. So, Nancy, what's your thoughts on that? Mr. Kaz Hirai finally leaving?
Well, he's put in a lot of time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to retire one day. With any company you're with or job you're with, you're going to retire one day. Let him enjoy the rest of his life. He put in a lot of good years. He gave us a lot of good stuff. He had a lot of good input.
Mhm.
I wish him well. I wish him well. I just hope whoever takes his place does just as good of a job.
Okay. What's up, Jacob Walker? What's up? Shut up, man. Good to see you, fam. He says, hello from Portugal. Hello. What's up,
Hola,
Jay?
hola.
What's up, Spartan X? And I think I got everybody. So yeah, okay. Mr. Fox, what you think about Mr. Kasurai, his legendary career finally ending with PlayStation and Sony as a whole?
Well, I'll put it simply. The PlayStation King is dead. Long live the king.
Okay. What's up, Meds? How you doing, brother? You home yet? Or are you? He's probably on his way home. But shout out to Meds. What's up, brother? Let's move on. Let's move on to another one. Okay, so this story right here had a lot of people really just reaching on Twitter. A lot of people were damage control and attacking people over this, but this was actually, it didn't happen, but it was reported and it supposedly was going to happen that the Halo Master Chief Collection was going to come to PlayStation 4.
Hmm.
Did y'all even care
Yeah, I
about
heard
that?
about that.
You heard about
I,
it?
I didn't care either. I didn't report on it, so
Yeah,
obviously
it
I
was
didn't
like
care about it.
I
I,
had a few
yeah,
people talking to me about it. Like, do I really care that this was going to come to PlayStation at one point? No, it just
I don't mind talking about it now. I'll give my 2 cents, but I
yeah,
didn't really think it a pertinent enough story to,
right,
devote any video time at all. Not even 30 seconds.
yeah,
that's something I agree with Foxy on. I didn't, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not a big deal.
I
mm,
played Halo to death. I'm not gonna care if it comes to PlayStation all these years later.
Yeah,
facts,
that's
Mister.
yeah.
Oh, Matador, how you doing, brother?
If you really wanted to play a certain type of game like Halo, hello, then you buy an Xbox. You want to play something like Uncharted, then you go
Mm-hmm.
buy a PS4. I don't know why people are be holding out and getting hyped when a game that's like it's like what, decades old as a franchise now. Reportedly coming to the PC or the PS4 or whatever, or Switch. If
Mm-hmm.
you really wanted it after those, like a decade at least, you could have saved up and bought it to play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So people that have this fake hype and excitement for games because it's finally coming to a platform, but you didn't care about it when it was on another platform.
agreed.
Even
It's
when that platform became cheap as the dirt in the earth, you
mhm.
still didn't buy a pre-owned cheap as the earth. the dirt in the earth, PlayStation 3 or whatever, to play certain games. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure how, genuine some of the hype factor is. It's pretty much disingenuous by all accounts.
Yeah.
I think it is too, because nobody ever cared before.
Yeah. See, you got people saying, "Oh, Shenmue, hooray!" Like they knew about Shenmue on the Dreamcast, like they knew about it on the OG, like they knew about it. You know what I'm saying? Like they knew about it in the PS3 and PS4. Yakuza games. No, it wasn't in there. It wasn't in there. That was like
people didn't know about Killzone. All of a sudden, jumped on the.
Wait, could you play Shenmue in the arcade in the?
No, I never got into Shenmue.
You couldn't, could you? No, I'm getting it mixed up. In Shenmue, there's an arcade, and you can play Sega games in there. And then they took the idea for Yakuza, and you can go to that arcade. It's kind of an evolution of Shenmue, isn't it, Yakuza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty.
It's just like, well, you know what? One thing is, it's just like what Foxy said before. People just do false hype on stuff.
I agree.
Yeah, it's so tired though, and obvious.
Yeah, it is. It is very obvious.
Yeah.
And so I ignore that stuff. That's why I didn't even say nothing about it, because it wasn't even, like you said, it ain't worth 30 seconds to even talk about it.
Do you know the worst kind of gamer there is? I have to be keeping it real. The type of gamer that there's a trilogy out, right? Or a quadrilogy of a game franchise, and they don't buy the first. They've never played any of them, but they don't buy one and work their way through the game. They start at like 3.
Yeah.
and then wonder why they don't understand the story.
game.
Why there's so many plots?
This game's crap. It doesn't make no sense. You started it at 3, you idiot.
Yeah. So why did this character die? I'm just now attached to him. Like, well, there was the previous games, and they explained why. Like, I remember I played Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and somebody was complaining about what's the name's death, Vlad's death. I'm like, really? He was destined to die.
See, that's the thing. If you're not gonna start from 1, then don't do it at all.
Don't bother.
I had somebody on one of my podcasts back a while ago, a young kid, right? One of the better members, HP North, and he wanted to play Gears, but he said, I'm not going to do that until I start from the first one, because I need to know what happened before I start, getting to the next one and be like, well, what's going on? So he waited to play the other one with me, even on multiplayer, until he finished the other ones. And then he said, okay, now I get it. Was
he young? Yes.
Yeah. He's about what, 19 now, maybe? But he came on when he was like 16.
He's probably late PlayStation 2, early PS3 gamer. That was their era. But here's the thing: I had one of those individuals. It's not their fault, because they're ignorant. They don't know what happened before them, even though the information.
Yeah, but he was smart enough to go get the other ones and play them.
Exactly,
first.
But I know somebody who condemned the Mass Effect series based on Mass Effect Andromeda. I said, that is a terrible example of the series. You need to play the original last gen games, and then you'll see there are night and day difference in quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people don't understand that. They say, well, I just started a game. Yeah, but sometimes if it's a story-based game and it's a series, you got to go back to the first one if you're going to understand what's going on.
Right, exactly.
Because then what happens? They'll play it and be like, oh, this game is shit. I don't understand nothing. The story makes no sense. Mm-hmm. Well, if you played the first 2 instead of going to 3, you would understand the game wouldn't be shit to you then.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Absolutely.
There was I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I remember there was reports or a rumor going around that Sony was working with Remedy for a new IP, something like that. That's what's going around. Not sure.
The new IP is it's their current game, isn't it?
No, that's not Control. Not Control. I don't think it's Control.
Yeah, they're marketing Control. Sony have marketing rights for Control.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
it is that one.
Oh, okay.
This was when news first broke that they were leaving Microsoft and going multi-plat, and they had 2 projects. One with codename P or something, and the other one was another name. And we were all speculating: is it Alan Wake? Are they going to do the Quantum Break Part 2, whatever, Max Payne? Then we realized actually they're new IPs, and one of them Sony has a involvement in terms of paying for all the marketing.
Okay.
That's Control. You're going to see all the trailers for Control are going to be more synonymous with PlayStation. You'll see all the marketing materials come up soon. I knew this a long time ago.
Yeah, it makes sense if that was the.
Yeah, it was P7 in the chat. Aloy Chloe Price. Shout out to you. It was P7, yeah. And
Okay.
P7 is Control.
All right, all right. I mean, just move this off to the side. And I was wondering what the hell this was. I was confused by it. Another thing is that okay, this is interesting right here because we already know Sony was not at E3 this year, but yet Sony somehow still became one of the top publishers to be mentioned the entire event.
Oh, I took a lot of flack for that.
That's incredible if you think about it because they're not there, right? Not there. And what's even interesting about the article, they even go into depth. They say that maybe it was a strategic move. Maybe it was very strategic for them to not go to E3 this year because they didn't have to announce anything. All their games, all the games that were third party were automatically shown.
You know what it is? Sony. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I took a lot of flack for this because I made a video and reported on it. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of people seem to take offense to me. I think a lot of them didn't watch the video. Those types who just read the title. Because I said, "Oh, Sony
focused
takes third place
at
E3 without even being there." Now, an intelligent human being might not jump to conclusions and watch the video and then realize even I'm saying what a miraculous thing because they weren't even there. And then I go on to explain it was actually just mentions on Twitter and articles dedicated to the brand PlayStation. They didn't actually come third. How could you possibly come third if you didn't take part in the event? Obviously. And people were spelling this out to me like I was born from an ostrich egg. Like, come on. If you're slow, don't assume I'm slow.
Yeah.
I'm ahead of you. I'm the one who made the video. People only hear what they want to hear, and then they attack you for that, for their perception of even though you say it clearly. Like, I think in this day and age, it doesn't really matter how clear and concise you make things. Somebody's always going to spin it objectively to suit whatever agenda suits them best. It doesn't matter. You can say the sky is blue on a warm day and they'll still come out with some kind of nonsense about but the sun obscures your vision, so how could you really tell? Surely your eyes were blurry if you looked up at whatever.
Yeah, somebody took offense to what I said about Phil wishing Sony was at E3, but I'm like, that's what he said. He thinks that the show would have been better or the event would have been better if Sony was there. But I'm like,
dude, they cannot accept the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth.
I reported on it. It wasn't even me and my own opinion. Obviously, I added to it with my opinion, but I'm reporting stuff that's already reported, like via well-known outlets like IGN and other media outlets, because they all calculated the numbers and totted things up and realized, hey, even though Nintendo won E3 in terms of traction on social media sites, PlayStation actually had the most mentions.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean Sony won. Like, people take this thing too seriously.
They take what your words and they just twist them to just try to cause conflict or cause an argument just to get some attention, hoping you'll go back and forth with them. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, I seen somebody twisted though. To be fair, I seen somebody twisted,
but they make themselves
Final Fantasy meant they won.
What was that?
They make themselves foolish, don't they?
Yeah,
because it's so ridiculous. Their comment is such a ridiculous comment, and they're so full of vitriol while making the comment, because you read it and they're using capitals and exclamations and calling you things like retarded and stuff, and you think, why are you projecting your own insecurity on me? I'm just making the video reporting on you.
Yeah, but you gotta watch the words you use. They may not understand those words. They're too big for them. They can't comprehend the little words. Don't use the big ones. They'll swear you're cussing them out or something.
Nancy, I swear I can't dumb down my shit. I've tried. I can't, because even I feel like I'm losing brain cells. In order for me to, like some people exercise their body, right, to keep it in shape. I do that, but I also exercise my mind. So it means speaking to a level of ability that I feel is general and inclusive, so I don't overdo it, because there are words I could use.
Of course.
And believe me, sometimes I slip up, sometimes I mispronounce things because I'm speaking so fast while I'm recording the video that something I've said in other videos correctly is pronounced incorrectly in a current video, and somebody who may not have seen my other videos think I don't know how to use a word or something, or spell a word. But you do. But human beings, the wonderful thing about human beings, not only are they such beautiful creatures, they are also prone to error. Would you believe it? Would you believe it?
Oh no! Oh no! No.
Let's switch
Well,
this
listen.
back here.
Only some of us are. The other ones are perfect. You got to realize that when you misspell a word, you're wrong. You know, you're a dummy. But when they do it, or can't even write a proper sentence that makes sense, they're the smart ones. Though they'll tell you you're dumb because you don't understand it.
Oh god.
Yeah, true.
Let me let's switch to this other topic here. So Project Lockhart might not actually happen, and it might just be Anaconda. So Microsoft probably will not launch 2 systems, and instead they're going to launch just one next gen system, and probably going to launch
Before we
Lockhart.
jump into it, can I just say to your viewers that only 1/3 of you have hit the like button. It would be nice if at least another third could, just to even it up a bit. 33 compared to 98. Come on, hit that like button. Encourage us. Go on.
But Lockhart's not happening, guys. This is a report. This is the rumored sort of quote unquote report, but it's not happening, and they're not even so much as backing it up at all as to if this console is going to launch at all for the next gen console. So it could happen. They could launch like they did with the Xbox One S edition. The little mini, or not the mini, but the slim version. They might release this later. Later down the road, but they're not going to release it day one. And I said this before in the past, before we even got to here. I said, isn't that a little too many consoles that might launch right now? We got Xbox One S, we got Xbox One Sad Edition, we got the Xbox One X, and then of course we have the Anaconda, and then
I remember the conversation well.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Now, obviously, I don't have any tangible evidence to back up my thought process here, but I'm not making a claim. This is just something I believe that they've dropped Lockhart. I think Microsoft looks at the landscape, and I think it was initially going to be an entry next gen console and a premium one, but then they probably looked at Xbox One X and said, hey, we've still got some leverage in this, we've still got some mileage with this system. So what I think is likely going to happen is I think the Xbox One X is going to get a reissued CPU at some stage. They're going to use the same hardware, right? Because GDDR5 is not a million miles away from compatibility with GDDR6, right? In terms of the RAM pool. And Xbox One X is going to be far easier to work with than the Xbox One because it uses SRAM, right? So, and slower DDR3 RAM. So I feel like they're going to repurpose Xbox One X, repackage it, give it a Ryzen CPU, remove that, Jaguar or whatever tweaked thing, overclocked thing they did, and it's probably going to end up being like 3.5 in terms of speed. CPU speed at the moment. What is it? What is it at the moment? 2 point something. 2.3 gigahertz. Yeah.
Yes.
So they'll probably get up to 3.56 gigahertz in the Xbox One X. Now, they're still going to have to find a way for the original Xbox One X to receive some of those gains. But I can see a transition point where Xbox One X gets a pro model, if you like, for want of a better word. And it's so that the pro part is the Ryzen CPU, and it should be their Lockhart. That's my speculation.
Yeah, I saw a lot of good theories going into this before this even happened, like this announcement or whatever was going around. A lot of people said that the Lockhart probably already exists, and it's the it's the X. And I'm like,
what's the point in releasing another weaker gen system and having a powerful gen system? It's like Microsoft want the best of both worlds. They want to be the weakest hardware, and they also want to be the most powerful hardware. But you're spreading your butter too thinly upon the slice of bread, my friend. You should focus on one bespoke piece of hardware.
Yeah, and then
nail it
off.
Give us the games, nail it, and then find a way of making it cheaper.
There you go. That's the
Don't
way
drop
doing
a
it from the
cheap one
beginning.
day one and Sony slap bang in the middle, or
Yeah.
even comparatively as powerful as Anaconda was meant to be when we heard the rumors before.
Mhm.
But don't that's a waste of resource as well, because now you're telling developers, hey, we're putting a lesser spec system out there, even weaker than the 1X. Because remember, Lockhart was rumored to be like 4 T-flops. So you're gonna make the devs work even harder in the next gen.
Yeah.
You're giving them more resources in one hand and taking away with the other.
Yep. There you go.
And people say scaling, they got scaling technology. Microsoft have all this technology. Yes, they do to make it easier, but there's still a lot of work involved.
Yep. Good point. Mr. RDL Matador, $5 super chat. He says, "Holla, amigos." Foxy, do you know what can be Gorilla's secret project?
They ain't got no secrets. It's gonna be Last of Us. Not Last of Us. What am I talking about? You see,
Talking about
Freudian slips. I
Horizon.
told you we're only human. We make mistakes. No, Horizon Zero
Horizon.
Dawn sequel is a lock. That's obvious. And they're going to do something with the Killzone universe. What's the secret?
Oh yeah, guys,
Everybody
you're gonna
put
see
in
the
a
return
gamble.
of the Ronin. Mr. Meds will be back in July 5th. Oh yeah, it's going down.
Listen. So look, they've already taken a gamble, Sony, with Guerrilla Games by allowing them this new IP, which turned out to be a wonderful success called Horizon Zero Dawn. But I don't think Sony's gonna say, let's jump into a whole new IP again and take another gamble when they can just eat off of Horizon Zero Dawn as a sequel and continue with the Killzone franchise, reiterate on that. Because look, people are nowhere near fed up of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh,
We've only
absolutely.
gone one game. It's not like Uncharted, like we've had 4 games and a spin-off. It's not like Halo. We've had so many games, and the latter few haven't been prolific like Bungie did, So
Yeah.
there's no fatigue with Horizon Zero
You know,
Dawn.
I don't want to see. I don't mean to cut you off. You know, I don't want them to do. You know, how when game developers they just tack on a multiplayer. I don't want them to do that with Horizon. I don't even want to see anywhere like this game get anywhere near a multiplayer because I just don't want that tacked onto it. You know, I'd
Listen,
rather
some
just keep it
games,
what it is,
some
the
games.
visual marvel, and go with the story. And build upon it.
Look, Sony's already said
Yeah.
that they want to focus a lot more on multiplayer aspects of games for the next generation. They've said that publicly. Okay, that is on record. All right, but that doesn't equate to let's shoehorn multiplayer into games where it might not fit or be necessary. I mean, Days Gone doesn't need multiplayer.
It could benefit from one like Horde mode.
How?
Maybe.
How? What would it be?
Horde mode.
Another Last of Us?
Nah, Horde modes. You have the zombies coming at you, like the freakers coming at you, and you'd
Yeah,
be
but
like
that's
a group
tired.
support.
That's overdone, and isn't that coming
Yeah,
in?
I'm just saying something, like they could
swear they
it mess
did,
around
bro.
could be like days what's that damn game that came out? World War Z multiplayer. It might mess around and be like that. You never
Yeah,
know.
but Ryan, we're still to get DLC anyway. We know they're working on DLC, Sony Bend, 4 Days Gone. So that could very well be part of the picture.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
But I feel like hordes are overdone though, man.
Yeah.
Like this hordes in everything, man.
Yeah. I definitely
Like if you're gonna do something with it, do something with it. You know what I mean? Don't just for the sake, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have a bunch of zombies chasing you?
If they ever did do multiplayer, that would probably be like the most main thing they would focus on is like a horde mode. I don't think they will have races, right? Because you're on your bike with us. So I don't know if races will actually.
You know what would be amazing?
What's
A
up?
sort of battle royale, sort of like a different spin on it though, because I know battle royale is tired as well now. But imagine a sort of 100-player cap, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
down to the last one who survives. But you're not against each other. You're only there. You're only there to survive from thousands of these hordes of zombies coming after you, and they make the intelligence of these zombies, the AI, so good that's where the excitement will be. It won't be in killing each other. It will be in trying to survive together. And then the last one who lives wins. That would be amazing.
Yeah. That would be dope. That would definitely be dope.
Hey, Sony banned them for hire, by the way. If you ever fall by this podcast, I don't know, maybe you're not doing nothing on a Friday.
They need to. They need to. So we need something. Nancy, what you think on this matter?
Which matter?
Oh, what were you talking about? You don't want to add on anything like that? Like, do you want to see
Are you
multiplayer
there?
aspects and things?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello?
Oh boy, can you hear us?
Hello, this is a
Brian, I
telephone
can't talk.
company. You
I can't
haven't
hear you.
paid your bill.
You
Call back 1-800. Pay your bill. Thank you.
Yours, Nancy. Okay, I think either she muted her mic or Nancy's experiencing technical difficulties.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Now you hear us,
I
but
said I couldn't hear you before.
okay. So you want to? Is there anything that you want in there? Do you think they should add multiplayer to their single player games?
Not to all of them, no. Some
Okay.
maybe, not to all of them. Only because I think it takes away from the type of game it is. Um, if you got a good story going on, don't always add multiplayer to it because sometimes it don't need it.
Exactly.
It don't.
That's what I'm saying.
It stands alone. It stands out on its own.
hmm
Don't take away from that. That's my only thing. Sometimes they'll do that and it takes away from the actual game just because you got a few people bitching, I want multiplayer, I want multiplayer. Well then get a game that has multiplayer in it, but don't take away from everybody else's enjoyment of the game by them focusing more on the multiplayer aspect of a game as opposed to the story. Because
Well, okay.
sometimes what
No, I don't
sometimes
want to.
no, but sometimes what
Sorry.
happens though, no, that's all right. Sometimes what happens though is that they'll do shit like that,
Mm.
okay, and they forget about
Core.
the story.
Okay.
They'll forget about the story because they want to focus and make sure that multiplayer is okay. So sometimes
Exactly.
you'll take the good parts of the story and you won't work on it. You won't
Well
make the
said.
story better. You
Well
won't make the
said.
story better.
All
That's
right.
my issue with them constantly throwing multiplayer into a story driven game is because then after a while when you put the second one or third one out, you're going to concentrate more on the multiplayer aspect and then the story's going to lack.
Okay. Good point.
Yeah,
Good
and let
point.
me just piggyback off that, right?
Hmm.
And this is not an insult to. I'm not. This is not a sweeping statement, but I wonder if some people who Nancy described about have to have a multiplayer and everything, or they're not happy. I wonder if those people don't have many real world friends. So maybe that's all their friendships are formed online. So they tend to gravitate to
Mm.
multiplayer games because really they're lonely and there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's your outlet, right? But there
Mm.
is somewhere called outside, and I hear the air is fresh there. Try it.
Oh my god. Let's change this. Phil Spencer's now this is a quote from Phil Spencer. He believes that the Xbox focus is on software and services, not console sales.
If it's
He's
not
right.
consoles, all right, yeah, but if it's not console sales, stop building a whole bunch of million consoles then.
My
But
thing
he
is
is
this,
right.
though, if
Their
you're not
money's not
focused on
anywhere.
No,
console
I
sales,
know.
well, I get what he's saying in terms of the focus on the services because obviously they announced Game Pass Ultimate and whatnot, and they're really trying to bring their games everywhere. They just brought Banjo Kazooie to Smash Bros. That's happening, but you're about to release a new console, so you would think your
Mm,
priority would be to push that console to not only be one of the best things on the market, but also to be aggressive with it and give it that incentive that people know they need.
well, Ryan, read between the lines. Read between the lines. What Phil Spencer is actually saying, what he's actually saying, if I translate it into how I interpret it, right?
Hmm.
He's saying that at the end of the day, Xbox is becoming an option as opposed to the rule
Mhm.
because they are now effectively a multi-platform company
Pretty much.
spreading. They are now making money from Sony, potentially from using Asia cloud
Asia
services.
Cloud and
They're making money
Sony's
with
making money from
Nintendo on the Nintendo
developers.
Switch. They're
Yep.
making money on the PC. So their
Yep.
consoles really are just complementary to the business.
Yeah.
They are not the business anymore. They transitioned from relying on selling hardware to it just being an option, a complementary option to keep the brand alive, like as in your house, because they
Yeah.
need some presence in the household, right? They need that because their eyes are on the box. When people come around your house, right, and they're not necessarily into the latest technology, they say, "Oh, I'm still playing on the PlayStation 4. What's that? Is that the new Xbox?" And you got Scarlett down there showing 8K movies or whatever they can do, 4K native games, 120. They're gonna look at that and say, "Oh," and instantly the brand is there. You got the X
Yes.
Bang. They need that because if you're just going to be in articles and a service, where do you see the advertisements for these things? Usually someone's watching it through their PC,
Yep.
watching it through YouTube, or watching it through Xbox Live,
No.
or watching it on their console. And so you need the console to drive your marketing because it's like it's an empty, it's like an empty, I don't know, like a cocoon with nothing. There's nothing in there.
Yeah.
A service with it's just a service.
A walking advertising, basically.
It's
There
like
you go. It's a walking
Netflix,
advertising.
Netflix doesn't have a box, but people have never really cared about a box when it comes to movies.
Mhm.
Games are different. People care more about video games as boxes, knowing that that's the system. It plugs into my TV. You don't care that much about the movies side of it because that's why Netflix. No one says, "Oh, Netflix feels hollow." It's just a service because really, what did you have before? A
Yeah.
DVD player. What, a video cassette recorder? What did you have before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we've always had consoles. We've
Yes.
always had a box. We've always had that smell of new plastic when we open the box and remove the cellophane wrapping. Smell that Prada, lovely. You could smell the technology. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful. When you open a new game case, put it to your nose and savor that moment. Then
Yeah.
pop the disc in. Nothing beats that feeling. It's like video game cocaine.
Oh God. We know you're not gonna do no unboxing. He's gonna sniff the box. I'm like,
Man,
it's-
listen. Listen. I ain't got no fetish or nothing, but I'm just saying when you open the box for the first time, you don't even really
new
have to,
smells. What you basically saying? You like that
you
new?
don't even have to put your nose to it. It's just you open the box and it just smells new, bro. Simple.
Yeah. So like, oh my God, look at this damn.
That's wonderful.
It's amazing.
Listen, do you remember the excitement you had when a console launched and you picked it up, had it delivered, and you grabbed your knife or your scissors to open the box?
Yeah.
Now imagine that's no longer a thing. And all you're gonna get is a stream on your TV.
Yeah.
The lazy game. Lazy game. More people are gonna put on weight. They won't even have to walk down to the store anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see people really. Well, again, we'll wait until it's actually legit field tested. But that xCloud thing, I don't see nobody actually buying that controller or buying that attachment for their phone and putting that on it. I don't see that happening. But I can't see. I can't tell the future.
So they sell though. If you go on Amazon, they're best sellers. Those clips for your mobiles
Mhm.
where you can use controllers, they're best sellers on Amazon. So
Oh, wow.
somebody's buying them.
That's-
Someone's buying them.
Yeah, I don't know. I never. Well, again, we'll wait. I guess I'll.
When you're in bed, right?
Yeah, until
When
I
you're
wait.
in bed, it's like playing a Switch, isn't it? It's like playing
Yeah,
a
like,
Switch
that's the
on your
thing.
phone, isn't it?
I don't even see nobody playing their Switches outside. Like every time I see
No, I'm saying in bed, bro. You know, when you go to bed, you want to have a quick half an hour on something.
Yeah, that's what's great for. Yeah, I would never take
that's
mine
what
outside. Once I get mine, I'm not taking it outside. It's gonna be in the crib.
Dude, I've had Switch since they launched one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Day one, I've had it. Right, I've had it for years, and I've still not seen someone in public with one.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
I've
seen
not
anybody.
seen it. I've never seen it. I've
anybody
never seen it traveling. I've never seen anyone commuting with one.
Mhm.
Never seen anyone on the road with one.
Never
Like,
seen them on the train. All these places they were talking about. I don't see that stuff. Maybe
millions
on a
of these
plane,
things have
right?
been sold. So I feel like people like probably thinking this is expensive, boy. I don't really want to go out with this.
Yeah, which is good.
Ain't like losing. This ain't like someone knocking over your coffee. This is like someone drops your Switch. Like
yeah, that is true. That is
somebody's in deep shit for that. Then
damn. And they're gonna, it's gonna be like two cars crashing with no witnesses. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. You bumped into me. No, you bumped into me. I'm not paying. Yes, you are.
Well, actually, no. Matter of fact, though, we actually might see people with Switches out there, though, because you heard about the Switch Mini. This reports that is actually legit happening, a Switch Mini. So we might actually see this, guys. Everybody in the chat, there might be a Switch Mini that might happen, and I don't know what's going to happen with the Switch Minis. Maybe they'll start treating the Switch Mini like they do the 3DS models and the lines. They'll come out with different colors, accessories.
Oh, they will. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably what they're playing into. And the older a debut model, which is the one that's currently out here, obviously they'll still sell that, right? They'll still sell it, but there's also a report of a beefier one, right? It was a more powerful one in terms of the internals. So maybe they'll discontinue.
So many reports. There's
Yeah.
so many reports, right? There's so many reports.
Some
Hitler's
reports
coming
from
back.
Nintendo. Yeah, a lot of reports.
I can't stand all those reports because you never know who's telling the truth. That's why I won't speak on it until I know that I'm getting the actual right report.
And if I do speak on it, I always qualify it with rumor. Take it as a rumor for now, because there's nothing like official.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a lot, man. They
Even
do
when
it.
my sources,
Don't mind though.
my sources are dropping information on me, right? All
Mhm.
from 18 months ago, right? When I was talking about PS5 early, I still said in those videos, I want you to take it as a rumor because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm relying on solid information from people I trust. But
Yes.
as I said, we're all human beings and things can be misinterpreted, things can change. Like I always say in videos as well, early videos, that these are preliminary. This is what Sony's aiming for, but things can change. Like I said, like, what did I say? They want to have at least 4 more T-flops than the current Xbox platform, Xbox One X, right?
Yeah.
That's 10 T-flops.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Google Stadia drops with 10 T-flops.
10,
Then we hear rumors about Sony's going to aim for around, well, a bit more than 10 T-flops. But even the
Even at 11,
T-flops thing is
you know.
becoming like a even the T-flops, the whole T-flops thing now is becoming probably a misnomer because Digital Foundry is saying the way AMD have their technology set up now, T-flops aren't the deciding overriding factor on what is more powerful. As I said, Vega 64 compute units, they have a Navi mobile chipset that is outperforming a Vega 64 with 40 or slightly less, because some of the CUs are turned off, 36 or 40 compute units, and it's outperforming 64 compute unit Vega. Yeah, with
Yeah.
and it's more power efficient as well. So that's going to be obviously for these next gen consoles in one capacity or the other. Plus, there's rapid packed maths. That's still going to be a big thing because obviously it doesn't turn a console from 10 T-flops into 20 T-flops because all it does is half the floats. So that you could do certain things like background calculations and physics calculations without using up the whole FP32. You can use the FP16 on certain things. It could be even dynamic, you know, like the skyboxing games in open world games. It could be dynamic clouds and all that stuff. It could be used for that stuff where it doesn't require the full power. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the techniques are going to carry over from Pro
right.
to PS5.
The reason why
We haven't seen the end of checkerboard rendering. We're going to see, you know, temporal injection be used still for games, especially when they're talking about supporting 8K TVs. So obviously they're going to take full advantage of HDR. This is one of the main
There's a
things.
reason why God of War looks the way it does.
Yes.
Because part of that game is using all the technologies afforded in the PS4 Pro and in the original PS4. That's rapid pack math and certain things like the way the whole pool of the GDDR5 RAM can be used, particularly for PS4. Because I'm not sure if PS4 can do rapid pack math. I think that's something that they did for PS4 Pro.
That was for Pro. The
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah, that was
The whole
Pro.
Polaris Vega.
Yeah.
That's that Vega, isn't it? That's when they mixed Vega in with Polaris. That's when they were able to do rapid pack math. Because that's part of the Vega technologies for PS4 Pro. Yes, that's right. Because I reported on it. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah,
it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. Again, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to what they're doing. So just a lot to take in. Definitely a lot to take in. To move on to the next topic here. Now, okay. This right here. Now, obviously, I did a video response to this because I saw a lot of people arguing over, like, off of what Colin Moriarty said from IGN. Well, he used to work for IGN, but he was on his podcast. He said that the PS5 dev kit is significantly more powerful than the Scarlet. And he says that most likely is going to mean that the PS5 is going to be more powerful than Scarlet. Now, obviously, people were arguing in comment sections. Even in the article itself, people were attacking. Just like, guys, just wait for the console to come out. Nothing's been confirmed. We don't even know how many T-flops Microsoft's going to have with theirs. But we do know that it's pretty much evenly matched, right? Everything right now, from what we've been told, courtesy of E3. They both use Zen 2 processors. We don't know which versions. We know they're using Zen 2 processors. When it comes to the Navi GPU, there were reports that Microsoft could go with a more higher performing one, but they're both using Navi GPUs. Both going to support 8K. They're both going to support 4K, 120 frames per second. They have fast SSDs for faster boot times and performance, and whatnot. But there's only one big difference if I was to be legit with y'all, right? There's only one big difference if I was to go off of that spreadsheet. Sony has VR, Microsoft doesn't. That's the only difference on that spreadsheet. But everything else in terms of specifications is pretty much neck to neck, right? Nothing's been confirmed. But what you guys say about it? What y'all think?
One thing, like I said before, until I see it and hear it from the horse's mouth and experts, I'm not going to say anything. And once again, I'm going to say this. You can have the most powerful console, but the powerful console don't win anything. Yes. Okay? The games do. That's what puts you on top, the games. So, yeah, power is good, but without the games and good games, that power ain't worth shit.
There you go.
That's it. It's simple as that. It's
I don't know why. I don't know how we've I don't even know how E3 turned into that. Remember how like everybody was just talking about something like, for example, the Star Wars game, Nancy. Remember how like people were talking about that? Oh, I don't know how it translated from that to we got these specifications. I'm sitting there going, what specifications? What did they tell you? They told you the same thing that Mark Sony told you before this event. So what exactly do you know?
They don't know shit. Once again,
they don't know nothing.
These people do this shit all the time when it comes to a new console coming out. My this console's more powerful than that one. This one, but power doesn't win. Games win.
Exactly. We're gamers, are we not? Everybody in the chat, to the 132 of you, we're gamers, right? So we should be worried about these games. That's the first thing we should worry about. I admit, though, the power is important because we want that next gen leap and we want those features. Of course, that I'm not saying that doesn't matter, but what I'm saying right now, we know for a fact we're getting the next gen leap. We've already been assured of that. 8K support, 4K is going to be native, 120 frames per second. We're getting this stuff. So therefore, there is no reason for us to be sitting here doubting that we're going to be getting the next gen leap. That's confirmed. But
Ryan,
our argument is going to be in the games.
But Ryan, listen to this though. Some of the consoles right now that we have out this gen aren't using the power that they have for their games anyway.
Exactly.
So people aren't getting that. They're not using the full potentials of these consoles right now. And the games, especially on Sony, still look good. And I know that they ain't using all the power on that on the 4. They're not. So we are going to get a more powerful console. But my thing is that's all well and good. And I appreciate that. But I don't have the games to show off that power with. What the hell was the power?
What was the point? Exactly. What was the point? It was I don't want to. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even want to go into that. I
can't do this because
you already know it's going to translate into that one particular conversation that I really don't go into because it's like I saw that spreadsheet. I know you saw it, right? That list of games from the years. That is embarrassing. That is very embarrassing. Like we had, what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, right? That was very embarrassing for a list of games that go into the years.
Yeah, but it's not only that. I'm tired. I only brought that up because the main point of it, because how many people I've argued with on Twitter about this shit. Yeah,
I seen them. That's why the mute button is strong with me.
I'm like, God damn.
I muted so many people. I was like, man, Twitter is such an amazing place once you hit the mute button. It's an amazing place.
Mute them, you must. Mute them.
The mute button you must hit. You must. Fox, go ahead. What you think, brother?
Well, there's a lot of people invested in this, isn't there? Overly invested. Look, at the end of the day, these are dev kits at different phases in their respective development kit life cycles. I've said this in the video, but people didn't seem to grasp that part. As I say, people hear what they want to hear. I already said when I reported on the Colin Moriarty talking to developers working on both PS5 dev kits and Xbox Scarlet dev kits, right? I reported on that. And I also said, bear in mind, these are dev kits and they are likely to change backwards and forwards. The whole power pendulum. It's going to change because as far as I know, PS5 is quite further ahead in terms of its development kits than Xbox Scarlet. So the developers probably have a more refined version of Sony's dev kit, where Microsoft's probably just put out their first dev kit. So while the time Microsoft's third dev kit is in the hands of developers, okay, the third phase of it, it might very well outpower the PS5. The pendulum is going to swing back and forth. Leah, RIP.
Yeah, that is true. And it was funny. If we go back, right, guys, let's go back to 2013. Remember the PS4 in the 20th, was the February 20th conference? Remember how they were talking about how the PS4, you know, it's like a blank canvas for us. We can create all this. It's so much power. They had the dude who announced Diablo 3 on stage. It was going to be killer, X amount of things. That same guy, a few months later, said that the console was maxed out. But he said the system has so much, you know what I'm saying, possibilities with the, you know, everything. And that's them running on the dev kit. They didn't have the full.
They don't have all the tools. They don't have
the full tools.
They don't have a lot of the tools. So when it comes to optimizing, it's not going to be as easy and refinable as if they have more tools. That's what I'm trying to. It's not going to change the power dynamics. It's going to change what you can get out of the current power
what you have at your disposal to make the game.
Listen, at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
Dev kits essentially remain the same throughout the entire generation, because obviously the silicon is locked, right? Yes. But how you use that silicon changes drastically.
Yes.
Because more tools are added to video game development libraries, new techniques, and some things you can just throw away. You don't need to use that anymore. Use this. It's going to save you like 100,000 man hours or something. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there are certain things that dev kits go through to make the development process more refined. Therefore, they can squeeze more at from the metal.
Reality, when they get the finished product,
right? They can squeeze more out of their hardware, right?
Yes.
Right. Then, so at this point, what I'm trying to articulate is what I'm trying to communicate is at this point, PS5's libraries and tools might be way more advanced for its spec than Microsoft's. So therefore, the developers are coming to some conclusion about, hey, we got this done much quicker on the PS5. It must be because it's more powerful. Whereas that might not be it. It might be that Microsoft's tools are just not updated to that level yet.
That's true.
Because I believe Sony's development kits are far more advanced than Microsoft's.
Yeah, definitely. But like again, like I said earlier, guys, as we talk about these specifications, we talk about these CPUs, just remember, once that talk is done, it immediately comes down to that vital component, and that is the software. Software will always triumph at the end of the day. You don't got the software, you don't have the customer's interests.
But at this point, we shouldn't even have to preach that, because I to my understanding,
but
the people who are watching us and listening to us are gamers. I hope they are. I hope the people in the chat, you know, talking all big and bad and braggadocious, at least I hope they are gamers, even if some of them can't spell. I hope you're gamers, because at the end of the day, right, that's what it's all about. And it pains me that we have to keep reminding people or using the same narrative over and over. It should be about the games. It should be about the games. We shouldn't have to do that. It's obvious, but like Nancy's about to say,
they're dense. They don't get it.
A lot of people are dense. A lot of people want to hear one thing, and that one thing they want to hear constantly. My side is better than your side. When the reality is, it comes down to which side is providing you the best value in the end. And I don't mean value by me like, oh, our games are everywhere. I'm talking about value in terms of a library. A games. See, at the end of the day, when you go to a platform,
and a hefty library at that.
A hefty library. Because when you're going to a game company, right? I'm going to cut you up. When you pick a side, right? Let's say you pick Sony. What do you know Sony for when it comes to their games, right? They fill out it's like they fill out a spreadsheet.
Ryan, that's the wrong way to frame it. You're not picking Sony. You're not picking Microsoft. What, you're only buying one of their products. How can you be picking Sony? You're picking PlayStation.
I'm trying to break it down. I'm trying to break it down. I'm trying to say.
But I don't like this Sony thing, because you know what? I only own a PlayStation that is made by Sony. Everything else I own is from another company. So I don't buy into Sony. I buy into PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm using them as an example. But I'm saying when you pick a platform, right? When you picking these platforms and when you pick their product, right? You're going to these platforms based on like a spreadsheet of what they have to offer, right? Let's go to Sony, for example, here. Sony has a game that caters for everybody. You know what I'm saying? They cater into everybody. They got those story-driven games. They got those RPGs. They got those JRPGs. You know, they got every single thing on a spreadsheet here. You go to Nintendo. What does Nintendo have? Them old school classics plus their games that they're investing into that have been changed for now. You know what I'm saying? Then you go to Microsoft. What is Microsoft known for? Now, if we were to compare it to Microsoft to the 360 gen, Microsoft was known as the what? The Do Pro console. So they had all the shooters, they had all the, Gears of Wars, all that. But what are they doing now? It's pretty much the same thing. It comes down to what you want, but
I don't know. I feel like that might be a little bit harsh on Microsoft. Do you know why? Because I feel like we can't keep harping on about their failures this gen. This gen is over. They lost. Sony won. Sony was the most successful console manufacturer this generation, right? It's over. What we should look forward to now is it resetting the future. Let's look forward to 2020 holiday when both systems have to reset their clocks to 0, and then we'll see what Microsoft has done with these 14 studios that they formulated recently or added to like that. I think they bought 8 and formulated 1 and the rest were already with them. So now they have 14 or 15 studios, right?
Yeah, 14
now
studios.
let's see the fruits of that labor, because they've had, let's be honest, they've had a nice layoff.
Yes.
For half of Xbox One's generation. They never really put their foot down on the gas. A lot of the games were uninspiring. Yeah. So next gen, let's give them this time, because there's no point going over this Gen 8, man. It's dead. Do you know what I'm saying? We're going to keep saying the same thing. Microsoft's had no games this gen, or their games were lame compared to Sony. Let's see when it resets to 0, because I want them to give Sony.
You want Sony to have the same, pressure that they did.
I want Microsoft at some points during the next gen to have their foot upon Sony's neck.
I want them to come out guns.
You want that Microsoft. You want that aggressive Microsoft with the
because I know Sony. I know Sony will retaliate with greatness.
Yes.
And greatness will come from both sides, and both quality will be competing with each other on an even level, so everybody wins. It don't matter what system you have. Microsoft's homegrown titles amazing. Sony's homegrown titles amazing. And guess what? All the multiplats perform the same anyway. So everybody's fucking happy.
That's not the Microsoft we want, people. That's the Microsoft we need right now. We need that. We need
that. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying for a while. Now they got these studios. They need to come out guns blazing next gen. They lost this one. We all know that already. We got to stop repeating that. Like Foxy was saying, we know that it's done. Okay, but they need to, with these studios, come out and start wowing people again. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Build the love again. Have people say, "I love Xbox. I want to be back investing into this type of thing." That's exactly
that's what they need. That's what they need to do. Okay. And I agree with Foxy on that. They have these studios now. They had a long time to lay off and not do nothing. Okay. Let's wait and see. Next year on the holiday when they're going to release most of their shit. Let's see what they come with. Let's see what they can do in 2020.
Exactly.
Let's give them an opportunity. Let's give them an opportunity.
Let's give it to them.
Come on, we're gamers.
This is not another.
We're gamers.
This is not another wait till E3. Sorry, I'm talking. I can't. You know what it is? On my side, Nancy. You've stopped, and then as soon as I start, I can hear you. It's like you cut in and out. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it on purpose. I honestly think there's a gap coming, and I'm taking it. But here's the thing, right? This is what I was going to say, right? At the end of the day, next gen, they have 14 studios, 15 studios. A lot of, now they can spread their games far and wide, so there's no excuse about games not selling. They've got their streaming platform that they're building. They got their Game Pass, so Microsoft have really eliminated any excuse for failure next gen. Because if they fail next gen, I said this before on a podcast like last week or the week before. And I'm going to say it again. If Microsoft, by the end of next gen, Generation 9, if Microsoft are pretty much in the same position that they're in now with Xbox One, leave the video game business, because with all the ammo and guns in the world, you still couldn't do it.
Well, no,
which
they
is embarrassing.
actually,
Embarrassing.
Foxy, they can. Maybe they just need to change the people in charge and get people who are really interested in getting that division
I
up
already know
and
what that's
running
going
the
to
right
go
way.
to. I already know what you're about to say. He ain't going nowhere, Nancy. He's there to stay. He's made more money for the division. She's talking about Phil. She's talking about leadership.
No,
Phil
he's
ain't
not
going
the only. He's not the only one there that they can
nowhere.
change.
Phil ain't going nowhere. He's stuck.
No,
He's stuck
no,
with Phil.
no. But he ain't the only one. Okay,
Yeah,
there's
he's
other
not the only one.
people. He's not the only one. I'm talking about all them on the top that are making decisions. Okay, that aren't doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and not looking at what is right for the consumer. There's more than one person. He ain't the only person there. So I mean, yeah, I've said shit about Phil or whatever, but he ain't the only one there that makes the decisions and
They
they
need
come.
a overhaul, right? It's like
Yeah.
And let's be fair to Phil. Let's be fair to Phil Spencer. Remember, he was there during the successes of the Xbox 360.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was.
So he was there during the Xbox One's launch. He was there for Xbox 360, and those were relatively successful platforms. The only fault Microsoft really had, honestly, is Xbox One. That's been their Achilles heel in their product line. Because Xbox, you can give them a blight because that was their first console into the market. Even though it only did 25 million, that's
Mhm.
good for someone who's never been in that space.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's good for a first console. Then, arguably, whether it was failure rates or not, I'm not getting into that. But they managed to sell 80 plus,
Yes.
85, 86 million units of
Mm-hmm.
360
They're gonna
last
need
gen. It was relatively successful for games as well. There were a lot of games like RPGs initially for that system. Yeah, there
Yeah.
were a lot of titles that weren't just run and gun. They weren't just gun games. They weren't just sports. They did make a concerted effort last gen to steal all of the marketing limelight and to get Japanese developers
Mm-hmm.
on
Yep.
board.
Yeah.
Connect is what screwed up. Connect is what damaged Xbox.
Yes.
Connect. The minute that thing came into the ecosystem, it was downhill from there.
Yep. Then they
That I
forced
agree.
it, and then
That I
even
agree
tried
with.
to go even further this gen with it to the point where they gimped their console, which I don't even
But
know
see,
what they were thinking with that decision. Yeah, let's make our system 30% less powerful to accommodate this camera and these Skype integration, these voice changes or these voice commands, and the TV functionality. Yeah, let's do that. No, that's not how you should done
You
it.
know that was Don Matrix's direction, though. You know that, don't you?
Was it done? He did that?
Yeah, that was Don
I thought
pushing
that
all
was the
that,
whole company as a
trying to
whole,
make.
trying to reach out to more.
No, Don Matrick was in charge of. Don Matrick was in charge of strategic planning for the Xbox One
Yeah.
from the very beginning. It was his idea about making it take over the TV cable box. It was his idea. He
Yeah.
wanted his vision was every house in the US has an Xbox,
Yes. Okay.
and maybe not the world, but at least America. Every house in North America is using an Xbox because they want to cut their cable. They want to cut the wire. They don't need the cable anymore. But it didn't work out that way because gamers, they forgot it was gamers that made them their initial success with
Yeah.
the 360. All the casuals hopped on board years later. It was the hardcore early adopter who happened to be gamers, not really interested in TV. They
Yeah.
are the ones that put Microsoft in their position to be successful. And Microsoft forgot that. That was their big mistake. They forgot that and looked at the big picture instead of seeing it at a grassroots level.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's what I was trying to
That's
say.
turning into a meme, Megadeth. That's turning into a meme on Twitter. I'm probably going to use that. Not in this house. I'm going to use that Adams Family quote.
But that's what I was trying to say. They forgot about their fan base when it comes to gaming.
Yeah.
Forgot
They
about
honestly
Trey.
do. They forgot about us, and
Yeah.
that's where the big problem is. They forgot about the gamers, and that's hopefully, like I said, hopefully they can get it together next gen. I don't want to see nobody fail. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they just got to get it. They just got to step it up, and hopefully they will.
Exactly. It's got to
Hopefully they
eventually.
will.
They have to at this point. I'm hoping. They learned. They learned everything going to the next gen, but I
Look,
think
I
they
like
start
look,
off with an okay start with the next gen console because Phil said Halo Infinite will be on the Scarlet Day one, so it's built for the
that's
Scarlet.
good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
That's
a
good.
good starter. That's a good way to start it, but
It's going to be downgraded for the
it needs
Xbox
more.
One, though.
You know what?
It's going to be heavily downgraded. If it's a Scarlet,
the Scarlet.
if they're focusing development around the Scarlet, that means they're going to lower it for the other versions, and Xbox One is going to come off.
That was a given though, didn't it? I mean, we kind of already figured that back when we first saw it. We kind of figured it was already going to be a next gen title. So we kind of already figured.
You'll get better performance on Xbox One if you stream it through xCloud. Stream the Scarlet version. Yeah, of course.
Oh,
even if you
if
you stream the Scarlet version, right?
Yeah.
This is assuming that the lag is acceptable, right? That the latency is acceptable, right? If you, of course, it's going to look better. Even if you stream it, it's going to look better than the Xbox One version natively.
Okay. I was like, oh, let me break that down.
Well, look, it's common sense. Look, how can the native version on weak hardware compared to Scarlet? How can it look? How can it not look worse, even if it's streamed?
Yeah, good point.
Only if you got a terrible connection. If you got the bandwidth on your internet, it's going to perform better than the Xbox One version, which is probably what they're gonna do. The Xbox One, the disc version of the Xbox One is going to become like the discless version, whereas it will have a disc drive, but you won't want to play those that's launch on Scarlet next gen on your Xbox One.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have the option to probably going to Xbox Live and access Project xCloud from any Xbox One.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else you want to add on to this? I think we beat that topic to death.
Well, what about, are we going to talk about Matt Booty?
Yo, yeah, go ahead, bring it up. Go ahead, start it. I was just great bring it up.
Yeah, because Matt Booty said he thinks, and then he said absolutely, it will be the most powerful immersive console on the market.
Yeah.
So he went from I think to making a definitive statement. When you say absolutely it will be, that overrides I think in my book.
Yeah.
Because you can't have it both ways. You can't say I think and then say it will absolutely be based on what is your thought based on. I mean, when you formulate, and I know people like to say, oh, he was only having an opinion, he's entitled to it. But listen, you can't have opinion formed from dog shit. You need to have it formed from something that is real, like reality, something based on facts. Now, if you don't have facts, meaning you don't know what PS5 spec is, and in reality you don't have the dev kit, never seen the dev kit, then where can you form this opinion from?
Yeah, I got an idea. I got an idea. Well, no, I wanted to tell Foxy. He asked where can he form this opinion from. Maybe he had his head up his booty.
But no,
maybe that's where
it's from. Demeanor when he said he's like, I don't know, I don't have a dev kit in my hands to formulate that that statement. Yeah. He said that in this interview. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't have the dev kit, Phil, then obviously, then there's nothing.
But look. At the end of the day, right? People, I made a video on that as well, and people, and the title of it was probably. I can understand why some people might say it's like clickbait, but it isn't clickbait. I was merely stating a fact. In the title, I put Xbox exec claims, because it's once you say I think and then say it will absolutely be, it becomes a claim. I'm sorry. If I say I think I'm the smartest man on the planet, then I say I think I absolutely am the smartest man on the planet. It's gone from me just having this grandiose opinion of myself to me communicating and it becoming a bold claim, baseless as it is. It's still a claim.
I saw the damage control in the chat. I was like, well, he works for Microsoft. He's supposed to say that. I'm like, no, you don't do that.
And you are the executive of Xbox. You're supposed to know better than to talk to the press and have a quite misleading statement like that. Because the press and anybody watching the press and other media outlets are going to report that you said, because you sounded quite definitive. After you said, I think, you sounded very definitive in my eyes. And I don't know how you can, it may very well be more powerful than PS5. That's not the point. Yeah. You don't know it is. So don't put your neck on the line just yet and give all the fanboys and all those console plastic worshippers on either side, don't give them ammunition to mess up your launch. Because what happens now when Xbox Scarlet they have their E3s or their own, what happens when it launches and then we find out it's not more powerful? Then it's going to be
2013,
like
all
terrible
over.
PR for.
Yeah, be just like that.
Right, and that's
a disaster.
that was the whole point of my video. I was saying I don't want Microsoft to have to suffer that because it would be a shame. Because I want the gen to start off equal, no bad press, just everybody fighting to have the, the best retail space and sales on games and gamers engaged, and you know what I mean. I want to see gamers who have predominantly been on the PlayStation platform. I want them to see Scarlet games and say, damn, I gotta get me one of those. And I want that on the other side as well. People who have always been on Xbox, I want them to look at PS5 and say, yeah, I chose Scarlet day one, but damn, that looked good. And have both. And let's cut this nonsense out.
That's
we can enjoy
gamers as late though. They can't necessarily give props to either side. It's like they have to downplay it in some weird fashion. Like when a game comes out for PlayStation, remember Detroit Become Human, Foxy? They go, "Oh, well, that game looks like it's been downgraded from what we saw." You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it has not been downgraded. It doesn't look like that. Spider-Man. Oh, look, it doesn't have puddles. Even though it has plenty of puddles in the game.
Jealousy, man.
It's stupid. It's like, come on, just play the game and deal with it. Just enjoy yourself. I don't understand why people are so at each other's throats with this shit. I don't. It always bothered me, especially on Twitter too, when they talk about that shit 24/7, but then they get mad when the other side does it back to them. It's like, you're setting the environment, you're setting the example, so therefore they're going to project that onto you and do the same thing.
One thing I was going to say, I want to lead off of what Foxy said, because that's what I was trying to get at when I said about some people maybe need to be changed in management, is because when you come out, like you said, and make a claim, and if it's false, that can damage your product at launch. That can damage your product. So an executive needs to stop coming out and saying things if it's not absolute. Don't make the claim if you don't know yet, like you just said, because that can actually damage your product at launch.
You're right. And I think I mean, I get what you're saying, but I wouldn't want him to lose his job. But he does need media training.
Yes.
If you're going to make slip-ups like that, that's a gaff. If you're going to make slip-ups like that, you need to learn how to speak to the media so you're not wrongly misinterpreted, because it's easy. The media, like, it's easy for that shit to happen.
They'll tear him apart. But the other thing, I'm not saying make him lose his job. Maybe put him in another position where he's more suitable and switch somebody else to that position. I'm not telling people to lose their jobs. I'm not doing that.
Switch Bonnie Ross in this position. Like, Bonnie Ross is good at not telling you.
You just got to watch what you say, because that's any company. I ain't talking about gaming now. You got to watch what you say, because you can damage the launch of any product by saying something that may not be factual.
Yeah, and look at Jim Ryan. He said, "Who wants to play compact games?" And that went against him and the brand, because he said it at a time when one of the main features of Xbox that they were touting was all these backwards compatible. And people were saying, "How dare you? Like, maybe I do want to play my old collection on this new hardware." So it swings and roundabouts. It's not just Matt Booty like getting booting, pun intended. It's more about, loads of executives have made cock-ups like this. So I called out Jim Ryan when he did it. So and nobody said, "Oh, you're a fanboy," then. So why do people say I'm a fanboy if I call out Matt Booty?
Yeah, because they're retarded. They just want something to fight about, something to argue about, something to say that you're this, that, and the other. That's all it is. Because they're jealous because they're jealous of us because we could state the facts and be real about it. We can be honest with ourselves and with fellow people that watch us, all the people that support us. We can be real with them and keep it 100, and they'll accept the truth. But these people can't accept the truth, and they don't know how to talk the truth. They're in fantasy land somewhere.
And then hello, I make no secret, PlayStation for its games is my preferred platform, but that does not mean that they are above criticism.
Yeah.
Exactly. Listen, when they've done something wrong, I've said it. I was the first one to say it. When I was, it doesn't matter. Even Microsoft, I'll give them their props when I see something that's good. I've given them plenty of props when they've done the right thing. But if I own the console and you do something wrong, I have to call you out. Same thing with PlayStation. When shit was going down with them, and I called them out. No, I ain't having this. Yeah. Like at one point when we had the servers constantly going down and all that bullshit, I was pissed. Man, I was mad in hell. I'm want to play a freaking game online and I can't do it.
Yeah.
That was, especially fighting games. You know me in fighting games, Street Fighter
Yeah.
and all that. Back.
No, and I don't even want to bring up that horrible memory that everybody in the chat probably forgot about. But you remember the anonymous hack with PS3?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that, people. We don't want to talk about how drastic that was.
We do call out Sony just as well. It doesn't matter whether maybe that's our preferred, but we do call them out. We do.
Yeah.
So you can't say we don't, and that's what I don't like about people when we actually call out people. Somehow they selectively forget that we did that.
Yeah.
And focus on what we say about another.
You talk about Xbox, but it's like this. I mean, if you really just look at the situation, right? Let's look at the situation. Who's really catering to whom right here, and who's really delivering like what they promised to their fans. Sony said greatness awaits, right? We're here to deliver the best games. They're delivering you the best games, and more games are to come.
All right, but that's good. I know that's good, but what I'm
get upset with that. It's like it's true. One side's focused on services, the other side is focused on games. And you're given that same statement that you've been given for the past E3s. Wait till this year. And again, it all adds up. But again, next generation, hopefully it is a different, it's a different situation. Hopefully it changes. But the way things have gone this generation, again, I mean, there's only a limit to how much gamers can take, right? There's a limit to everybody will take to, in terms of excuses and whatnot. So it's only
it resets next gen so people can move on.
Yes.
Like for Microsoft, it wasn't the best generation they've ever had. Who cares? It's over now. Yeah. It's over now. Everybody wants to play next gen. It's over now.
It's got a super chat from Ravenflow. I appreciate it. I saw it, brother. I just didn't add the chat up here. Thank you. $4.99 super chat. He says, why does Spencer say consoles are not as important and then say he doesn't want to be second best? He sends mixed messages. I definitely agree with you there. He does. His wording is mixed. Definitely.
I think somebody needs to.
Phil Spencer.
Who's wording?
No, he said Phil's
he did pretty well. I think he did a sterling job of not saying the wrong things when he was talking about Xbox Scarlet and its capabilities. So he's definitely getting better.
Yeah. It's like Jim Ryan. Or not Jim Ryan. Sean, what's his name? I don't forget his name. Damn.
Layden.
Sean Lane. Remember how Sean Lane was nervous when he came out on E3? He was like stumbling on his words. He was all choked up. Look at him now. He's all a natural.
No, but wait. Imagine Sean Layden and Matt Booty went out for lunch together just to discuss, as they're in the industry, people could say, Layden with Booty. You get it laid down with Booty.
God.
You haven't got the same kind of sense of humor. I'm British.
Another super chat from the Ravenflow. Appreciate it. He says Microsoft PR is partially responsible for the delusional fans. That's what he said.
Who?
He said Microsoft's PR department is partially responsible for the delusional fans.
Yeah. We've gathered that, right? That Microsoft didn't have a very good second half. Because it hasn't all been bad. I mean, there were times when I was on PS4 and I was peeping over at Microsoft's all their games, because Microsoft came out the gate with much better games than Sony did on PS4. We had to wait for those games on Sony. Microsoft had all these games coming out quickly, and then they just slowed down.
Yeah.
Do you remember? We were getting games like, they were getting all of their races. All we had was Drive Club, and that didn't work properly for ages, right? They had their shooter Halo collection, right? And some of it was remastered, whatever. And they had certain games like Sunset Overdrive. These were good games. They might not have sold some of them amazingly well, but they were still taking my attention. Like I was still peeking over, like your neighbor's fence. Oh, look at your garden. I was kind of doing that with Xbox. I was thinking, man, I'm waiting on these Sony games, man. And then it's like Microsoft, it's like the tortoise and the hare, right? The hare was way ahead of the tortoise, but the tortoise won the race.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're talking about games here, not hardware sales. And it's the games that drive the hardware sales. So maybe we are talking about hardware sales.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's, at the end of the day, right? I don't think we should hold Microsoft to the same standard that we held them to this gen. For one, they stumbled out of the gate. Their PR was a nightmare. Don Matrick had to resign his post and go to another company because of that, because the messaging was terrible for the Xbox One. We know that. We know the whole DRM didn't help. A lot of things didn't help. A lot of rumors about the spying through the camera. These are all negative PR for Microsoft. And then Phil Spencer got kind of taken on, and he had to do a lot of things as quickly as possible. I mean, it must have been hard for him, because remember, you've been standing by and watching all this, and you probably, knowing like how executives are, didn't fully agree with everything Don Matrick was putting forward, but you had to stay in your lane, because that's the boss. So you had to stay in, keep your mouth shut, like, you know what I mean? They're going with this direction. You either roll with it or you go somewhere else. So Phil Spencer had to probably stand by, on the sidewalk, so to speak, and look at Don Matrick screw up. And then he's given this mess to clean up, and it's taken him years. So, at the end of the day, I feel that I don't always agree with everything Phil Spencer does, but I do feel like some people don't give him enough credit for what he has done right though. Because he's done, he's made some mistakes, promises that he, didn't fulfill. But at the same time, he's equally done some good things turning that brand around. Now, let's see. This will be his real generation. Scarlet, not Xbox One. That wasn't his baby. He didn't design that system. That's got nothing to do with him in terms of hardware spec and design. Phil Spencer's hands were tied on that. This is his system, Xbox Scarlet. This is what he should truly be judged on. So by the end of the next generation, you can give Phil Spencer the report card, and you decide if Microsoft is worth your money to stay in the business if they screw up next gen, because there's no excuse.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
All right. I only have one point to add to that, though. I do give Phil his props for the things he has done, but with the studios that they had, still, where were the games? I understand he didn't make the system. The system is one thing he had to deal with. That was done by Don Matrix. Okay, he had to live with that coming in there, and do that. I understand when it comes to the hardware. But what about all these years with the software, all these E3s and no software? That's my only problem I have. That's my only problem I have with Phil, because he promised games.
I don't think it was him, Nancy. Nancy, I don't think it was him. I think Satya Nadella looked at the poor Xbox One sales of the games because of the bad reputation that the system had, because of its terrible launch, and realized, hey man, we're putting so much money into developing these games and we're not seeing the return. We're losing money on multiple titles, right? Because the development costs must have been high, because they had the whole RAM problem. Do you remember? They had to spend more money on Xbox One development because of the RAM problem.
Oh, right? Yeah.
So Xbox One's development slowed down a lot of studios because of figuring out the whole fitting all of these graphics and into the pipeline. It was easier with PS4 because of the GDDR unified pool of RAM, right? But I think Satya Nadella must have put a halt on things. I think it must have been really demoralizing for Phil Spencer to have to keep knocking on that man's door and literally begging for him to release more budget. Because imagine you given a mess to clean up, but no cleaning fluids. You clean up the mess, but you're not going to get any cleaning fluids or rubber gloves. Get your hands in there and remove that mess. And then he has to ask Satya Nadella, who's not even big on gaming at the time. This man was more interested in the Windows mantra, pushing Windows through console.
Yeah. Good point.
I do understand that. But I mean, you put games in development, cancel them. Okay. They also one of the other things, they launched things at the wrong time. Okay. They wonder why sales of games didn't happen. Okay. They launched games at the wrong time on type of other big titles. And I'll give you one good example: Sunset Overdrive. Okay, that's one good example. You know, that comes to the top of my head right now. They needed better marketing when they did this. All right, I'm not saying to go out and spend all this money. They had a smaller budget. I get that, but there's other ways to do it. You could do it through your console. They do ads on the console. Do it through your console. It's your product. How much marketing is that going to take for somebody to put up a little clip on your thing? That's one person that handles that. There's a lot of things that could have been done. I'm not saying that they should have launched a game a month. No, I'm not saying that. But you could have had more than just Halo's, Gears, and Forza. Not to be funny. And launched a little bit more, at least 2 or 3, like 1 a quarter or something, if you could.
I agree.
Or
I
at
agree,
least, or maybe even 2 a year, maybe even 2 top titles a year, maybe just 2. That's what I'm saying.
I think they did, but they were rubbish. I
Then
think
they're
they
not.
did really.
Then,
Slomo
but
put a
they're
good
not.
point here.
They're not top titles. Then they're not
Yeah.
top.
Yeah,
they're
they weren't.
not
They
good
weren't. They
games.
weren't. They were mediocre, but they were releasing a couple games a year. You know, besides their big hitters like the
They
Gears
weren't
and stuff.
impactful. They were more like filler titles.
That's all they were. And
Yeah.
some of those games, as you said, were mediocre at best. And some of them sucked.
Yeah, but I feel like Phil Spencer, and it's not like me to defend him. I'm just speaking from a business point of view.
Right,
when you're given a shitstorm to control, it's hard because it's like someone threw a grenade and said catch, and it explodes in your face. Because think about it. This man's been thrusted into this position, which he probably wanted all along. If Phil Spencer's had any ambition, he always wanted to be head of Xbox, and now he is. Okay, but at the end of the day, he probably didn't expect it to come when it did, because he probably didn't think. You couldn't foresee that fucking shitstorm happening with Don Matrick. It had to happen and play out. No one could have seen that coming until it hit the press, and it was a nightmare about DRM and spying and all that shit, right? And it being underpowered and overpriced and all that stuff. You couldn't see that coming until it was revealed, right? So imagine you're handed this mess, this crap to clean up, right? And your hands are tied. Like, it's like you're given a bad hand of cards. It's like you're in a poker game, right? And you're just given shit cards. And every time you try and pick up and get a new hand, it's like something else goes wrong. Like the whole development with Platinum Games, like they realized that the budget they were putting in, like, think about it, right? Sometimes it's cheaper to cancel a game than to put it out there and fail, and you spend more money marketing that bitch.
Yeah, that is true.
You might spend more money in the long run than actually the development cost to release it.
Or how much you might bring in. Yeah.
Right. True. Imagine you spend hundreds of millions on marketing and tie-ins on Scalebound, and it's received poorly and it's shit.
Yep.
Then who does Phil Spencer have to answer to? Satya Nadella.
Yep. There you go.
They're not going to sit down and have KFC over that meeting, I tell you.
Now, it was a good point. Comment from Slomo. He said there was a rumor that Phil's old boss, Terry Mearson, handcuffed his budget once Mearson was forced out. Phil started spending money. That's what he stated. So there was that.
Yeah, but someone had to leave before Phil Spencer was put on the committee. Like, he's with the elites now.
Yeah.
In Microsoft. So now he has more control over budget. But when he didn't have that power, though, when he was first handed the role to try and right the ship, he didn't have all that.
That's true.
He had to keep begging. He had to keep begging for the money.
Work his
trying
way
to justify.
Yeah.
He had to keep. I bet you every meeting he had to over justify why he needs this money for this project, that project, and then Satya Nadella is probably staring at him. It's like trying to get a mortgage from your bank, and your bank saying, you don't earn enough.
Yeah, good point. Good point. The Raven Flow, another super chat. He says a few of the new IPs Microsoft dropped worldwide, would have sold on PS4. They have an audience problem. They little to no connection anymore. They have little to no connection anymore. Basically, that's what he said. Thank you.
Well, he knows. He knows, doesn't he? He's
hopefully, again,
probably in the industry. He's probably in the industry.
Yeah, this next generation. Hopefully, he took notes, man. Hopefully. Let's move on to these last 3 stories, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna shut her down, man. Shout out to y'all in the chat. Hit that like button. Hope y'all enjoying the show. Okay, so Platinum Games founder said that the PS5 and the Scarlet are pretty much more of the same compared to previous generations. Basically, he's saying that he's not really that hyped. He said that what he's seeing
He's
is
right though, isn't he? He's right.
that's
More
what
of the
he's saying.
same.
That's what he's saying. So it's pretty much like, like the hype or not really, was it the hype? He was talking about the hype and what they're doing. He said it's not really that innovative and whatnot.
I agree with him. The
Yeah.
consoles are so identical, they're boring.
Yeah.
I mean, the games are going to be nice, but I'm talking about when you look at it at an architecture level.
Yeah.
It's nothing
It's
like
pretty much, again, like you said earlier, it's a
It's nothing
spreadsheet.
like the PS2 era. It's nothing like the PS2 era or PS3 era. It's these consoles are so close in their makeup that for Digital Foundry to do any kind of analysis is going to be the most boring thing ever.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. The only thing difference, again, like I said earlier at the start of the show, if you guys want to go back, the only thing that's really different on the spreadsheet is just Sony has VR, PSVR. And there was reports a while back that they're not actually going to come out with a new one. They're just going to have the same one that's out there. So I'm guessing they're
No,
probably
that's not
gonna,
true.
well, there was report that wasn't, but again, we'll probably get the new one eventually. But yeah,
There's a PSVR already in development for PS5.
yeah. Well, I'm not surprised.
That's common knowledge. I'm
yeah.
surprised someone's reported that they're not going to reiterate on PlayStation VR. They've
Yeah,
invested too much into that platform to just make one model. How stupid.
Yeah. How many did they sell VR headset? What was it? How many?
They did well, by now it's probably done more than 4 million, but it was
like,
reported some time ago.
Probably 5 million, close to 5 million.
Probably. But look, that's not their only investment though.
Yeah.
It's not the amount of systems they've made and sold. They probably have a steady production of it, so they haven't got loads stuck in a warehouse somewhere. Sony by now have worked out how many they're selling and how many they need to make, so that they don't have some just stuck in a warehouse not selling and losing value. But here's the thing. Their investment isn't necessarily actually in making the PlayStation VR as a product. Their investment is much bigger than that. They've built studios around that thing. They've got technology invested in around that thing. There's no way that they're not going to reiterate on PlayStation VR to take advantage of a more powerful next-gen system. That will just be the dumbest thing after they've just doubled down and said that they are very much still, investing in VR and with the whole technology. So, I don't know anyone that's reporting that they're either ignorant or clickbait.
Good point. I think there was that story I covered. Oh, Nancy, what you think about them being all the same or both of them same? Sorry.
No, I agree with what you guys were saying. It is what it is. I mean, how can I say this? They're so similar. The only thing that sets them apart really will be the software. Bottom line.
Okay.
The power is like almost neck and neck anytime you have a console. Okay, when they use the power, let's put it that way. When they use the power, they're neck and neck. But it's the software that's going to stand them apart with any console you have. I don't care even if it's Nintendo. What's going to set you apart from somebody else is not the hardware. It's going to be the software.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Good point.
Well, I feel like the third parties are all going to look identical. You won't be able to tell the difference between third-party titles. So Nancy's right. It's definitely going to come down to in-house studios and who's producing the most prolific, most interesting, most captivating games.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think they confirmed that there's not going to be parity issues, right? So third-party games are
no way. They're going to be this is the easiest job. This is going to be the easiest port for any developer.
Yeah, since there's not going to be
PS5 and Scarlet.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's automatic.
You won't even have to port it. I wouldn't be surprised if the only thing stopping an Xbox Scarlet disc from working in a PS5 disc is the encoding on the disc, not the actual program, not the actual game, just the encoding that stops it from working. Because what's the difference?
Good point. Good point.
The same bloody hardware.
Yeah. Okay, so the last two stories, and we'll shut it down. Now, this right here is courtesy of EA. They made a funny announcement. Well, they made a funny statement regarding loot boxes. They said they're surprise mechanics and they're quite ethical. Said loot box. Oh man, that's right. They're surprise mechanics. So basically, what you guys are paying for, in Fortnite, Call of Duty, whatever, you guys are buying surprise mechanics.
Well, back in Jamaica, they say you don't buy pussy in a bag. So if you don't know, if you don't see what you're getting, why are you trying? It's not a lucky dip. Why are you paying to? It's ridiculous. Better you pay for what you. Better you see what you're paying for, right?
Yeah. I'm like, wow. So I spent $60 and I had to pay an additional 30, with season pass, if I was, buying this stuff. And then, and I'm getting just surprise mechanics. Come on, man. Nah, that's stupid. But that's what they had to say.
Well,
oh, EA.
Nothing EA says surprises me. Nothing they say surprises me.
I think they're censoring the new Star Wars game, by the way, too, bro. I think they're censoring it. There was a report about that. They're censoring it to for kids or something like that. So
what do you mean censoring it?
Yeah, supposedly it's being
Star Wars. What do you censor about Star Wars?
Well,
that makes no sense.
I'm guessing it won't be no dismemberment. They're toning down the game. That's what they said. They're toning it down. So,
but even the movie has dismemberment. Don't you remember when Darth Vader's hand got chopped off?
I know. His arm got chopped off.
Wasn't that for kids? Weren't kids allowed to watch that movie? Weren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happened since 1970 in the 80s? I thought we've evolved as human beings.
I don't understand it at all. That's one of the main things about Star Wars. It's been a thing. You have Jedis getting stabbed through the heart. Remember Qui-Gon? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's ridiculous. So
yeah,
I just but think about it. Think about it. A lot of us went to the movie theater to watch Star Wars. Okay. When we were kids, and we saw Luke Skywalker's arm get chopped, his hand get chopped off in The Empire Strikes Back. Spoilers, and we saw Darth Vader's hand. We've seen in the latter versions of the movies with Darth Vader, Christian Henderson's version of Darth Vader, burning in some scorching planet till his face looks like some burnt out Krispy Kreme donut. Kids are allowed to watch that, but a video game with it, oh no.
I mean, hell, kids, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I can understand if there were hookers in the game and you could sleep with them and then pay them and then kill them to take their money, but that don't happen in Star Wars.
Yeah. Actually, did I
read? That's a reference to Grand Theft Auto there.
Oh God, let me find this soda. Oh man, it's crazy.
I can understand the Witcher 3 censorship for Switch because the UK got a different commercial for the Switch version of the Witcher 3 than the US. The US, you see bodies from the tree hanging, yeah, but in the British version, they've removed the bodies and you just see the rope hanging from the tree because there is high suicide rates where people hang themselves in this country, and that's ironic because this country used to be famous for hanging people. So there you go. The government bans anything to do with hanging, but not so long ago they were hanging people, like just hanging people, like as part of their punishment, instead of going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good point. Ah, man, it's so much happening in this generation. I'll move on to this last one here. I think that's 1 second. Is that it? Covered that. So yeah, pretty much covered everything. I'm just looking for this quote.
You haven't covered everything. I bet you haven't covered Matt's booty.
I look like.
Oh, I couldn't help that one. Matt Booty. Do you know what?
Paul,
I have to say his full name.
You, Pauls.
Do you know? I have to say his full name whenever I report on Matt Booty because it feels strange. When you say Phil Spencer, but because you're going to keep mentioning Phil Spencer, you break it down to just Spencer said. I can never say Booty said.
Oh God.
I just can't bring myself to say it. Booty said.
Yeah,
beautiful.
this company is again. This company is it's a meme at this point with executives with
You're
names.
beautiful. No, you're beautiful. That's Keanu. If Matt Booty had to do the Keanu Reeves thing, he would have said, "No, you're beautiful. No, you're beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. Now play this motherfucking game."
Oh God. All right, I covered
You're
everything.
beautiful.
I don't think none of us
You're
care about
beautiful.
the whole.
It's true.
None of us care about the whole zombie unicorn thing because that's irrelevant. Let's move on
What's
from
that?
that.
What is that?
Is they Twitch streamer zombie unicorn?
Never heard of him.
Oh, okay. See, relevant. You don't care.
Never heard of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 65 of the RGT podcast. I want to say a massive shout out to all of you who showed up. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit that like button. Shout out to Craig Harris. He wanted to be here, but he had to work. And shout out to Mr. Carlos Fernandez. He's actually on vacation. So shout out to him and his family and everybody else. But yeah, we'll be back next week with more topics, more discussions, and of course, we're going to have fun with everything like we usually do. So thank you guys again for coming through and talking some gaming with us. And massive shout out and thank you to the panel here. It was a little short today, but we definitely got the job done. Go ahead, Nancy. I want to tell everybody about you and where to find you.
I don't have to do that. Everybody knows who I am. I am. No, I am. You just told me to do my outro. Be quiet.
Oh God.
See how rude he is? See how rude he is, Foxy? He don't even let me do my outro. He's rude. He's rude as hell.
Throw a turtle shell at me, like them Mario turtle shells at me. There you go. My bad.
No respect.
No, see what I'm saying? He still won't shut up. And don't talk about turtles because I have my turtle come over and knock you right in the head with his shell. Because I got a real turtle. I don't need one of those fake ass turtles. But anyway, you guys know where to find me. Playing my games, okay? On Twitter, on YouTube, okay? So yeah, this is Titanfall Princess. You all know you love me. So come and watch me. I'll be gonna be doing some more streams coming up, playing some more games. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. Show your girl some love. Forget about Ryan. Don't show Ryan no love because he was just disrespectful to me. But show me and Foxy some love because Foxy didn't disrespect me. There you go. So show me and Foxy some love. Hit that like button for us. Forget Ryan. Hit that like button for us. I'm out of here.
Oh, the betrayal and on this panel. You see this? I see this live. You streaming today, Nancy?
I don't know. Maybe.
No, I just asked the question. You gonna stream?
Okay.
No,
I might be doing something later.
I'm getting on Tekken after the stream. You want to fire up Tekken for the people, play some rounds.
Maybe not right after, but maybe later.
Okay.
I gotta figure. I'm going through things in my head of what I might want to do. So you got to give me some time. I'll hit you up and let you know.
All right. Mr. Fox, go ahead, my brother.
You want to know where to find me? Catch me outside. Catch me outside. You want to know where to find me?
Fuck the games you can't play games.
And I'm Big Cloud Gaming. Definitely tune in Sunday for the Gamer Couch podcast. It's going to be the same time, 5 p.m. Eastern on Fox Games UK's channel. Definitely come on through, talk some more gaming. But yeah, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much again. We appreciate y'all. Much love. And we will see you all next week. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be easy. We're signing out.